video we are looking at the organic reactions that you need to know for 2.10. So the reactions of alcohols, how to name those alcohols, how to draw what those alcohols look like, what the difference between a primary, a secondary and a tertiary alcohol actually is, how we actually end up, once we've made our alcohols, how we can get our substituents, so what the reactions with ammonia is, reactions with PCl5 and what the oxidation is, and what happens when we combust our alcohol. And then we're going to look at finally reflux of the alcohol. So once we've refluxed it, what we actually end up with, why, how we can tell the differences, how we can use that reflux to see if we had a primary alcohol, a secondary alcohol or a tertiary alcohol in the first place. Okay, so if we start off with our naming, we have an ending that tells us it's in the same homologous series, so it tells us it's an alcohol. So we take off the ANE, and we add OL. Okay, so for example, if we had a 2-carbon chain, we take off the ANE and it would be ethanol. Okay, and these can be primary or secondary or tertiary based on the position of the alcohol. So if you've got 1 carbon chain as an ethanol, it's going to be a primary molecule. If the oxygen that is attached to the carbon has 2 different carbon groups, then it is a secondary alcohol. So in this example, that's propan-2-ol. If the carbon attached has 3 different carbon groups attached, and it's a tertiary carbon. For example, that is 2-methyl propan-2-ol. Okay, so we can look at drawing these primary, secondary and tertiary hydrocarbons by the number of carbon chains attached to the carbon with the OH group. Okay, and as I said, if I've got 1 carbon chain attached to the carbon with the OH group, it's a primary alcohol. 2 carbon chains attached, it's a secondary alcohol. 3 carbon chains attached, it's a tertiary alcohol. Okay, and then we can name them the same way using our EU nomenclature that we did earlier on in the week on how to use our stem parts. So if it, for example, it had 3 carbons in the chain, it would be prop. How to name our side chain. So for example, in this one I've got a methyl side chain. Okay, so it's methyl propan-2-ol. Remember, in this one, technically I wouldn't need to name the position, the position of the methyl group, because the only position it can be is in the second carbon. Okay, well, we can look at the reactions of these molecules. As we look at the combustion, the reaction with sodium, reaction with PCl5, and the oxidation.